This podcast was recorded in Melbourne, Australia, known by the traditional owners as Nam. We would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. We celebrate their resilience, their continuing culture, and acknowledge that their sovereignty was never ceded.
Hello all you baddies, benders and babes, and welcome back to another episode of The Book of War, an Avatar Legends real play. The story of 4 teens seeking the Book of War in a world without 4 runaways. Georgie, seeking the Book of War in a world without the Avatar. My name is Jesse Thomas and I play Minh FANG, the Foundling, he, him, a repressed runaway lava bender from the Earth Kingdom who found a new home for themselves in the Northern Water Tribe while hiding from deadly family secrets.
Good.
Thank you. My Minh fact for today is actually kind of a half Jesse fact, half Minh fact. When I tell you the vice, the absolute iron vice grip Chapel Roan has on my brain right now, I'm literally wearing a Chapel Roan shirt. Thank you, my beautiful girlfriend. Minh would have loved Chapel Roan. That's my fact.
R.I.P. Minh, you would have loved Chapel Roan.
Yeah, R.I.P. Minh, you would have loved Chapel Roan. Like 100%. It would have been all about him. So yeah, that's my fact. Very simple, concise.
Nice.
Yeah, he would.
He'd be like crying to Good Luck, babe.
Yes,
like on his knees.
Oh yeah, because he's just self-inserting in every single song.
My name's Lucas. I play Tomo the Hammer, he, him, a combustion bender free from his past demons and ready to unleash his full powers to right all the many wrongs in this world. I have all this spirit stuff has made me want to share a little encounter that I've had with a spirit in my real life.
Ooh.
If you'll indulge me.
Yes.
Please.
I love spirits.
Happened 20 years ago when I was a monk. There's a tradition that Thai men, when they turn 20, they go join the monastery for a short amount of time. Like could be anywhere a week, could be a year. So I was on this, and it was my 3rd night in the monastery. And every morning we were meant to get up at like 5 a.m. to begin our meditation. And, it was my 3rd night. I was adjusting to it. I couldn't, I had my alarm. On that night, I woke up with the sense that somebody was watching me. So I turned my head to the door and, with the backlit was this, presumably a monk, because it was a figure. I couldn't see the face. It had, bold and, the robes. And I thought, oh, the abbot's come to get me. I must be late. And then I looked at my clock and I was like, oh, no, it's 3:30 a.m. So I just sort of like said sorry or something like, and then I just sort of rolled back to sleep and didn't think about it. Didn't worry about it at all until about a week later when my mother came to visit. And she asked me if, anything interesting had happened to me on my 3rd night. I told her nothing. Like, I couldn't think of anything. And so
wait. She said the 3rd night specifically?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, go on.
Specifically the 3rd night. Like, and like that didn't like, but then she told me they woke up at about 5 a.m. and there was a monk standing outside their house. Like before dawn. Like my sister saw the monk, and wasn't too uncommon, to see a monk wandering around early in the morning. But like my sister woke up,
looking through your window.
Well, like kind of the windows was open. They opened their eyes. They could see like past the garden, outside the gate. A monk was just standing there, and my mother knew what to do. She offered a prayer, and the monk walked away.
This spiritual side that we hear more and more about is both wonderful and disturbing in equal parts.
Well, it's only disturbing if you view it as a threat. So the tradition is that when you become a monk for the first time, it's you and your family have this extra boost of good karma. If you're good, nothing bad will happen to you.
Good advice.
Hello, my name is Georgie Hazel, and I play Nuro the Destined, they, she, he. Nuro is a runaway from the strange and mystical Foggy Swamp. Once a lone wanderer, now part of a pack, Nuro finds himself navigating a world more complex and mysterious than they ever knew. But every step they take towards the swamp, that shadow grows bigger.
But we're no longer moving away from the swamp.
They said towards.
Again.
You fell for it.
That's gold. We're not even moving towards the swamp, though. We're in
we're in the swamp.
Towards the heart of the swamp.
Yeah.
one of the hearts, one of the many corrupted hearts.
My neurofact is about Puddles, the spirit. So Nuro met Puddles, the spirit, actually through Sa, I like to imagine.
Nice.
Puddles' home is a place that Sa, I think, would really like to paint, but then one day noticed that there was a lot more humans coming and like ruining the area and trying to find something.
Gross.
Like, yeah, so gross. And so at the behest of Sa, Nuro went to check it out, and it turns out that there was a fish spirit there that produced pearls just in its mouth.
Okay.
So its pools were just full of like shimmering pearls, and it just kept reproducing pearls. And I guess somehow the humans found out about it. But to keep that area safe, Nuro agreed to pretend to eat it, so went full swamp suit style and ate the fish to scare away the humans into thinking that I've no more fish. Sorry, no more pearl fish. And so yeah, Puddles lives very peacefully in their puddle.
Nice.
Amazing.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. My name's Ted Darling, and I play Banji, the Idealist, a runaway firebender who has risen from the ashes of his old life. With the fate of the world resting on the edge of a blade, he fights for freedom, for justice, and for peace. Just a quick Banji fact for this week. A couple of our people on the Patreon, Hydrapinus and Lumpy, were talking earlier in the week, and they started, I think it was Hydrapinus first, started replacing the word of Danny Boy with Banji, and so it was Banji Boy. And then Lumpy played it on banjo, and then Hydrapinus sang over it. And then we were talking about how that's Banji's granddad sitting on their porch waiting for Banji to come home, and he never will. And it's the most tragic thing ever. So, yeah, I'm canonizing that now, is that it's, yeah, Banji's granddad is sitting at home playing a tune and for his lost little boy.
Good news, Danny Boy's not in copyright, so we can play it if we need to.
Oh, hell yeah.
Banji boy.
It's actually really lovely. I encourage you, if you're on the Patreon, if you're on the Discord, go into the, I think it's the Share Your Content channel and listen to it. It's great.
Hello, my name is Ash. I am the Grandmaster of the White Lotus, or Goose Monkey.
Gum gum.
My fact is that I don't trust myself because I was at a trivia event during the last fortnight and learned a new word. And the word is euloginous. Anyone know what euloginous means?
No, but I feel like I've heard it on Star Trek before.
Does it sound like you are speaking as if you're at a eulogy?
Marshy, waterlogged, growing in wet or swampy ground.
Oh.
What a perfect word to use. And I swore to myself I would use it some point of this episode. And I don't trust myself. So I thought I'd say it here so that I have been true to myself that I've said it in the podcast. Ho, 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 ho. Anyways, roll the music. To recap for everybody, we have made some headway into this swamp that you have been hunting down a gigantic, monstrous, eldritch horror type creature that originally had Tomo's appetite and seems to have taken that and run with it in a horrifying way. You've all had a vision in varying ways, and I recommend if you don't recall what those visions are listening at home, go back and listen to them because they may or may not be important one day. We actually finished off with one final vision, which was Nuro aging with each step that they took, each blink that they made. And I think we're picking up right back there as Nuro comes back into themselves from that vision.
Yeah, I think they pause. They're very jarred by that, and just quickly turn around and they see the others there. And I think there's just like a moment of like dread on their face and like acceptance, I think.
Is it something that everyone else can see clearly?
Yeah. It's definitely not something that they can hide. But I think that they've got this like internal dialogue of like, can't worry about this now. Need to make sure friends are safe. They shake themselves out of it very, very quickly before anyone can really thought I heard something. It's nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah, Banji sees Nuro kind of doing this and walks over and gets down on a knee and grabs their shoulder. we won. It's okay. We've seen things before, and you and I know that we can change what we see here. It's just don't worry about it. Well, whatever it was you saw, it doesn't have to happen.
Nuro kind of just like returns the grasp on your arms, I think, and is just like, I hope you're right, Banji.
Minh walks along and puts a hand on your shoulder, sort of nonchalantly. He's like, "Of course he's right. When has he ever been wrong?" And he just walks past.
I think that Nuro is desperate to catch on to that sense of normalcy and leave that vision. It's still there, heavy in their mind. I think that age, like they still feel their age and like that old body. It does not feel right. So yeah, and Nuro is just going to continue forging a path on.
I feel that there's a lot of awkward silence. Everyone's now had their vision and everyone's feeling the tension of what's sort of up ahead. And it's quiet. Anyone's welcome to tell me that I'm wrong, but it feels really somber for the next hour of walking, whatever it might be. And as much as you're paying attention to the other side of the river, which is where you see that sort of greyish streak path, you're also noticing that those weird, glitchy, portal-looking things look like they're increasing either in number or in size. Either way, it feels really yuck over there. As you're looking over, you see that, Banji, you're probably the first to clock this. Nuro, you're not too far behind. It looks like there was a Fire Nation military camp set up, just a small one. It legitimately has just been run over by this thing.
Yeah, can I roll and assess the situation to see whatever the people who were staying there, if it was like something that they've fled recently? Is there, I mean, I don't want it to be too dark, but is there like bodies around and like...
How close do you want to get?
Well, how far away is it from us? Like, are we stumbling upon it, or is it sort of over the river?
If you go into, I'll call it the grey zone.
Right.
You'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so there's a risk in even going near the camp.
Yeah,
it's in the path of the creature.
Well, so far no one has tried to walk through the grey zone yet.
No, and I don't think well, I mean, like, I guess can we assess from the distance that we're at?
Oh, you can. I just wanted to ask it to give you. It'll determine what you learn at a glance.
Yeah, I think Banji will step up to where the edge of the kind of grey zone is and just try and get a sense of what's going on.
Please don't fail this.
Tomo's right beside you.
Yeah, watch your step, Banji.
It's okay. I've got this. Oh, yeah.
He got this.
Yeah, I got this. That is an 11. So I get 2 questions. I would say what's the biggest threat? So does it kind of look like this camp has been vacated recently? Is it an old kind of camp? And what should I be on the lookout for, I guess? Okay.
You have a look and you see that this camp was probably up and running until not that long ago. You asked about bodies. There are no bodies, but there are empty suits of armor.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Lying on the ground in a couple of spots. There's again, one of the tents looks like it's been half crushed. The other side looks fine. One side just looks like it's just almost non-existent. It's disconcerting just to look at this. You look, but then to answer the other question, the reality is that anything in this path is in big danger.
Yeah.
Good news for Nuro, they're probably not going to be active doing whatever they were doing.
Tomo is going to coax Sudi out of her usual hiding spot and hand her over to Banji. And I'm going to look at you all and say, I'm going to try stepping in.
Tomo.
It's better we know now and we're all prepared
Why don't
to react.
we throw a rock or something? Not our bodies.
Because there's rocks in there already.
Guys, the Fire Nation wouldn't leave a camp or this armor behind like this. I think they didn't leave here in a good way.
Tomo is going to take one step into the grey.
Everyone holds their breath. Lucas, you got your dice in hand?
Both of them.
You don't need them. You're fine.
All right.
Did I get you? Did I get you?
Followed by a second step, then a third, then a fourth.
Oh, that's the one where you go down. Okay. No,
It comes in threes.
It comes in 3. No, you are fine. Assuming you're avoiding these weird portal things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you go lick one of those, I can't promise that anything will be fine. But as you walk in, we've discussed this before, the general spiritual density of places. We had it in Agnikela. It just felt heavier. This is the opposite. It almost feels like nothing. Like, you know how the hair on the back of the neck stands up a little bit when there's a thunderstorm coming or somewhere nearby, and you know that it doesn't feel right as normal? Same sort of vibe. You cannot describe what is different, but you know that this isn't what it should feel like normally.
Tomo was going to sort of shake off that feeling and focus on the task of looking for a journal or some sort of written instruction, basically any clue to why the Fire Nation would be here.
Yeah.
And maybe a bit of coin if happens to come across.
In this case, I'm going to get you to push your luck. But you do get a +1 because you're acting on stuff that Banji has told you. This galloping double-handed throw again.
That's a 1 and a 1.
Oh, snake eyes.
On a push your luck too. Yikes. That's a hard move, baby.
Okay. So
Just getting them out of the way.
you walk over to where you see the sort of the main, well, the command tent would be. And as you go to walk in, you pick up what you think would be the book. And as you turn around, you actually, it's weird for Tomo, he trips over something he didn't see. It was like a helmet or something that, was just lying randomly. And as you do, you throw this, it just looses from your hand. This book flies through one of these glitchy portals. And as you see it go through, it lands on the other side. And it doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right.
It doesn't look like I should stick my hand in and pull it back out.
Hey, if you want to, that's fine. What did you roll again? Just quickly? Just curious.
1 and a 1. I think I will...
Mark a condition to begin with.
God.
Whatever makes you feel like, Tomo just failed holding something.
And so when you say it goes through and lands on the other side, is it in, like, you can see it through the portal, or does it just pass through the portal and land on our side?
I'm so glad you asked that, Ted. I was really hoping someone would want to clarify. The book has landed on the other side in terms of the real world. It's gone through this portal and landed, and as it's landed on the other side, it looks a bit different.
So we can all see it.
Everyone can see it.
Yeah, cool.
I'm going to feel immensely guilty because I'm Tomo. I should not be defeated by inanimate object on the ground.
It also had all of the information.
No doubt.
Everything you needed to know ever was in that book. That was the Book of War, everybody. No.
Min might go and have a look at this book with a bit of trepidation.
As you pick it up, you can be as slow as you like. It won't change the result.
I don't think I was going to pick it up.
As you flick it over with a stick,
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice.
there's nothing written in it. As you open it to read, there's nothing inside of it, like it's just been taken away.
I have a theory. There's nothing in the book. I imagine there would have been something in the book before Tomo threw it through a portal for some reason.
That does look like one of our logbooks where we write things down.
Yeah, I mean these shimmery portal things are definitely tied in with the spirit, we think.
Yeah, Nuro,
So-
is this familiar at all?
I've never seen a creature leave alter reality behind them. Like this thing, it's endless. I don't think it's gonna stop.
Well, let's go and end it then, shall we? If it's endless, let's end it.
I'm going to give you a choice, everyone. Because you rolled very, very well, Ted, for Banji's success. You see what could only be described as a save point before a boss. If everyone wants to do a rest or get anything organized, just down the bottom of your HUD, it says, do you want to save before continuing?
There's like ammo and med packs.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
If we're going to go fight this thing, let's just take a breather and get ready. If this is what it can do, I think we're going to have a fight on our hands, guys.
Yeah, all right, I'll chill for a 5. No problem. Minh goes and sits on a rock and just... You can kind of see that he's definitely nervous. And he's puzzling on his vision a bit longer. You can see he's still trying to figure it out. He's got this quizzical look on his face, like a really stupid sort of like...
He's in the thinker pose.
Yeah, he's in some... And you can tell Min's just like really thinking hard.
It's if the thinker was a meme. Like if you could pull a rage face for a thinker, like that'd be Min's face, based on what Jesse just pulled.
Yeah,
in the room.
and sitting on a rock.
Yeah. Banji he's got PB out and he's just running through kata, like drills, getting ready, he's like focusing his mind. Sort of off to one side if everyone's kind of doing their own thing. This is how he's grounding himself. He's working his feet.
Yeah.
He's practicing his sword kata.
I think that works.
I think Tomo is going to try to have a conversation with Suri.
Oh, okay.
I think Tomo...
It's been so long since you had a conversation.
I know,
with Suri. I'm looking forward to this.
Well, on mic anyway. Suri is... I have no idea how Suri's feeling about this or what vibe she's feeling. So what's my initial thought? Like, I'm going to pull her out and put her in my palm and just look at her.
Suri is always used to being in strained environments, and this is no different. Like, yes, it doesn't feel right, doesn't feel natural, but Suri's with you, so there's no problem there. Like, Suri just knows wherever you go, that's where Suri needs to be.
Tomo is going to gesture toward the grey. See that, Suri? When something goes in there, it sucks what they are. I don't know if I can protect you from that.
Suri nods sagely.
Are you sure you want to stay here with me?
Suri nods sagely.
You're right, there's nowhere safer for you to be in this swamp.
Suri nods sagely.
I definitely should brush more. Yeah, thank you.
Suri nods sagely.
All right then, but look, if it gets too much out there... stay put. Thanks, Suri. I needed that.
Suri nods sagely.
And
Tomo, you know, and everybody else probably knows, that's what Suri does whenever she does not understand whatever Tomo is saying. It is the first trick he taught her. Anything he says that she doesn't understand, she nods.
Sagely.
Well, obviously.
I think Nuro would probably climb a tree and probably actually try and gauge how close we actually are to the thing and see if, like, can I actually see it creating this path from where we are, or can I see where the path is ending or where it's...
You climb to the top of your tree, and as you do, you get that sense, this feeling of getting older with every step goes backwards. You're just like climbing trees, being in the swamp. This is my whole child. This is me. I am this. This is where we're at. Everyone, before we just get to what Nuro's about to see, you have your choice. You've all taken a moment to focus, so you get your choice. One fatigue, one condition, or one shift to your balance in any direction, whichever one you want.
I'm going to clear insecure because I feel like Banji taking that moment to really ground himself is sort of his back.
I'm going to clear angry. Yeah, that's not an emotion that Nuro is clinging to right now. There's too much at stake.
I feel that.
I can't feel like I can justify losing angry or guilty because of the current lies that Minh is told to make this situation continue with everyone involved. So I am going to clear a fatigue instead. So I have one fatigue marked now.
Nice.
all right, look, Tomo's got a heck of a lot of conditions, but I think, and I can't justify clear them exactly, but the vibe of the last few days, kind of Tomo kind of sort of stepping up and being like the older brother to this little family, I think he is going to feel a shift in his balance towards care, which will bring him back to 0.
Okay. Near at the top of the tree, you look and you see that this path that it was cutting is really not that much further ahead of you.
Yeah.
And what's more is that you notice it, and it's just serendipitous timing. It stops. What you see, just those last few trees fall or change or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there is no doubt about it. It has stopped.
Yep. Okay. And it's okay. Nuro waits a little moment to see if it moves.
It stays.
And it stays. Okay. It's just like it's deep. I think this is like uncharted territory.
100% this is
for Nuro
uncharted
as
territory
well,
for Nuro.
'cause, like they're not allowed to be
This camp,
in this area.
one of the reasons you haven't been here for a while, but one of the reasons why it was probably untouched is because no one goes this far.
Yeah. Nuro climbs down the tree again and dusts their palm off and huddles you all over and pretty much just relays that essentially that it's stopped. It's not far ahead, maybe right around the corner, fellas. It's
A near imperceptible amount of time.
and it's stopped. It's either found what it's looking for or it's waiting, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was both.
Minh joins his hands and puts them over his head and stretches side to side. He's like, all right, let's get to work. It's now or never. And he starts walking.
Picking up on the jovial nature that Minh did was working. He's just gonna smile and say, "Don't worry, I'm gonna get my stomach back, and you're gonna get your swamp back,
We're going to save the swamp. We're going to save your tummy.
and we're gonna have all the dumplings in Ba Sing Se."
We'll go back to Misty Palms, or maybe they
We
won't let us
cannot go
back
back
there.
to this.
You know what?
Yeah, no, not Misty Palm.
All right, listeners, we're going to start a poll. If you would like them to go back to Misty Park,
Tomo, there's definitely bigger dumplings out there that we're going to find.
Yes.
Yes.
And if it doesn't exist, we'll make them.
Now, how do you feel about going high with me? And by that, Nuro means,
Naruto leap into the trees.
yeah, leap into the trees, and they're even going to start like vine winding, I think.
Nice.
I think Tomo was faking his enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But I think seeing that, he can't help but smile.
Yeah.
And he jumps, leaps up into the tree as well, parkour his way up.
I don't know about smash cut too. Is anyone else fine winding? Because it's going to make great fan art.
I think Minh turns around and is like, all right, calligraphy king, let's go.
Yeah, PB, this is what we've been practiced for. Let's bring some peace.
Okay.
I think
That thing.
I think from above, Nuro looks down and meets Banji. Banji's eye gives a wink, and Minh as well
Yeah.
gives a wink to you, both of you.
Bungie returns a wink with a little spark
Little
flash
spark,
thing.
yeah.
Archer flies along and goes, I'm here too, guys, but that's okay. I didn't have anything to add. It does not take long as you begin this superhero slow motion run towards the big bad that it comes into view. You see this space open up. This is almost like a glade where there is a bit of room to move. Entering this big space where you see this grey come to a stop exactly on where this horrifying creature is. All you see are the wrinkles in its back from how massive it is and how wrong its size is. It's almost round, almost. This thing is white. It may once have held the features of a rabbit. Even though you can't see its face, you know from how its teeth are moving that its mouth is unnaturally large, but you can't see it moving its arms. Its legs almost look like they don't work. They're that laid down and heavy with just how big they are. And it is just as horrifying as Sar's picture had prepared you for. And it appears to be trying to attack some sort of giant foliage type creature that has these big leafy walls up that are almost gnawing through, but with each one another big green wall just comes in front and it's just trying to protect itself, King. You see these leafy shield walls go up. It's the only way to describe it. Clearly there's more to it. It almost looks like this thing has so many layers of foliage overall, so much that it could be, but it's just trying to throw everything it can to protect itself. Nuro, you have seen this before. It was in the vision that you had forever ago, floating around in the sea when you were lost,
Oh my goodness me.
that this leafy creature was running from something, and here it is.
And here it is. Oh my goodness me.
I do declare.
Oh,
I don't remember that. What was this?
So the first original 3 visions
Episode 9?
we had.
episode 9.
Yes, Nuro
Chapter
had
9.
one of these critters and like this bush specifically was like rustling sound running away from something in the swamp.
Yep. I
So
remember now.
very, very vague imagery of it. But yeah, no, this is I think this moment exactly. It's
Yep.
just-
Minh Fang's mother, the fox returning to the desert,
Yep.
and this leafy creature.
Yep.
Yes, foreshadowing, continuity. I love it.
The other thing to bear in mind is that those portals that you've seen in other places, they're here as well. They're just sort of scattered around. Wherever that grey zone is, there could be some. They're not so non-stop that you need to dodge left, right, up, down, BA to get past it, but it's enough that if you weren't paying attention, you could accidentally step into one.
It's interesting because I think like Nuro's first thing is going to want to like try and save this creature, but just like it's so terrifying.
Good news, can't see its face right now.
Yeah.
That if for whatever help that is.
Yeah. Gosh.
Are the bad roll boys near us now, or are we all back together? Or?
No, you're up high there
Yeah,
down low.
we're up high. I think
Unless you like, Minh is not going to be stopping.
Yeah.
Because like the last thing we said was like, all right, let's go get it, and we're here, it's there, and I think he's just going to like get in and do the whole, hey, big guy,
Yeah.
and throw a rock sort of energy.
Banji would be going in as well, yeah.
right.
I think while like they're kind of doing that front attack, Nuro is actually going to try and help the tree creature, lending their water bending to give them strength, essentially, like in their limbs, like in their branches and stuff.
Okay.
Okay, I think observing everyone's attention, Tomo will rush ahead as well.
Okay. So what I want from everyone is your stances, and in essence, you are getting a surprise round
Yep.
on this thing. In your case, Nuro, if you want to use a move from somewhere else instead, like if you want to use skills and training or something
Yeah,
like that.
I would prefer to use skills and training.
Absolutely.
If possible.
In that case, we'll start with you. We'll say it's a defend and maneuver, but everybody else, where you at?
Defend and maneuver.
Defend and maneuver.
Advance and attack.
Nuro.
All right, I'm gonna roll.
Yep. Rely on skills and training. Focus.
That's a 3.
Okay. So you know how I get to do hard moves?
Yeah.
Yep.
And remember how I said this was a surprise round?
Yeah.
I think what happens is that you begin to channel like a whole bunch of water, and the plan was to sort of hit this leafy creature, and instead you just hit this thing in the back of the head, and it turns around, and its eyes are wildly bloodshot. They're just not even there. Like
Yeah.
they're so, like the pupils are so small that it is impossible to tell how it's even seeing anything, but it sees you, and I'm putting it in the order. Jesse, Minh Fang is going first for defender maneuver.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna roll. Oh boy, 5 and a 6.
Hey,
11.
those are what's known as good numbers, Jesse. You might have heard of them before.
Yeah, this is a great. Well, we're back in combat, you see. Minh is going to, as it's sort of, Min's plan was to like get this thing's attention away from the leafy green monster thing, by picking up a rock and throwing it. Just like a really simple earthbending form just to get its attention. But as it turns around from Nuro's disruption anyway, the rock sort of misses and lands and sends out a shockwave, and I'm actually going to use Detect the Heavy Step.
Okay.
So I'm using Seismic Sense to detect the instant an enemy is about to move against me. I am prepared, and during this exchange, I can spend my prepared and mark a fatigue to interrupt an enemy technique. They can mark 3 fatigue, or they just lose their move.
That's going to be very, very helpful. because it's just turned around. I think that as you've just detected the heavy step, you begin to see it turn to like scream at you in this horrifying noise. Banji, defend maneuver.
All right.
Come on, Banji.
That is a 9. Yeah, Banji's just getting into his sword form. He's ready to go. I've said before, Banji, when he comes into situations like this, he can just get into that it's time to go mode, like it's time to fight. So I'm going to use Retaliate.
Okay. So yes, that means that it is going to have to mark extra fatigue for anything it tries to do.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, it's like as it lunges for me or whatever, I'll strike it with a sword.
We move into advance and attack. Tomo's first.
Pinpoint thrust. So this thing turned around to face us now.
Yes, remember you're up, the boys are down.
Yep. I think Tomo's is probably in midair as it turns around. So initially he was going to try to land kind of on the back of its neck. But now I think Tomo's going to try to aim for one of the ears, if that's possible.
Yeah.
Pinpoint thrust. 9.
Okay. What does this look like?
This looks like both tonfas sticking outwards, almost like mountain climbing equipment. And the idea is that Tomo wants to bury himself. How big is the ear? Is it big enough to be a?
It could be. Yeah, you could definitely try and get in there.
Yeah, I want to get in there. I want to get in there, like holding my breath and getting in there. I'm gonna mark an additional fatigue.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I wouldn't be marking anything because as you hit it, you basically go through it. You land in its ear ready to do that pinpoint strike and you fly through it almost like it's not truly there. It's partially there, it's partially not. The good news is with your success through there, you land and hit the ground and you don't mark any negatives, but you are swiftly reminded that one of the warnings you got for this thing was if you're not attacking it somehow spiritually, you are not hurting it.
Do I? So I lose the fatigue for the move.
No.
I presume. No cost. Do I at least have its attention?
No.
Not at all. It just ignores me.
It ignored you.
It ignores me. I guess that's the end of my turn then, I suppose.
That is the end of your turn. It is its turn. Nuro, you are still up in the trees, and it didn't notice you because someone decided to do a big flashy move and upset the world around them. And so that's who they're going to be aiming at. However, Banji,
Yes.
you're standing next to Minh,
Yes.
and this may be the worst time to be joined together because you see it inhale and let out again one of these screams, but this time there's something behind it. You both know, you both feel it coming. It is marking 3 fatigue to get past your detector.
It's only if I spend prepared to block it.
Oh, okay.
So I can choose to block this attack, and then you spend 3 fatigue to do it anyway.
Okay.
Is the plan?
In that case, it is marking fatigue to do this move anyway.
Sure.
And it's going to mark an extra fatigue because just to get past Banji's defenses, it's going to push it that little bit more. And you may.
I think I am gonna. I see this, and Minh has quick PTSD flashbacks to being underground in the pit, and the kid going,
Oh, yep,
and
yep.
exploding at him, and he's just like, boom, wall straight up to block whatever is about to happen.
Exact vibe.
And I will spend that prepared.
It is pushing past all of that stress. You see it just exhale through. Good news is it's burning its fatigue very, very well.
That was 5 in a single
Yeah,
turn.
hell yeah.
The
Bad roll boys are back.
The bad news is you two have 2 choices. You can either mark 3 fatigue as you dive away and separate from each other,
Dang.
or you can mark a condition and be stunned as this thing hits you. Even as it's like crumbling these walls, even as you're like, I feel that this sword's cool enough to like cut sound waves, and it just keeps coming. You're like, oh, I've not practiced this before.
Yeah.
Like the first one looks super cool.
Yeah.
That is your retaliate, and after that you're like, oh no. What do you want to do, boys? Might
So
I
if
remind you, I'm holding the Azula cards.
If I mark 3 fatigue, I'm full fatigue. So I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to mark afraid because that is horrifying. With all that attack back at it on its first thing, it still pushes through. Sends us flying.
I think I'm going to do the same. I think I'm going to mark afraid and be stunned as well. I think
Yeah.
this wall comes up and we're both just like, what? Like we share a look and it's like,
Like
oh.
we see it just keep going through, and we're like, yeah, look.
Yeah, you weather. Basically, your defensive maneuvers allowed you to weather it. You've taken that one condition, but it has properly shocked you. You're not acting the next round unless the other two do something to sort of take that away or get you back into it, which rolls us into the next encounter.
Defender maneuver.
So we can't pick stances, can we?
We can, but won't be able to do anything.
Yeah, okay.
So,
You maybe can't do anything. We'll find out.
Yeah, I'll go evade and observe then.
I'll defend and maneuver.
I'm going to go evade and observe.
Okay, it is going to go defend and maneuver. Tomo, you're up.
I'm going to attempt to use lure. Tomo squares his stance and bellows at the top of his lungs. Spirit, you have something of mine. Give it back or I will take it back. Let's go. I think I'm just going to make it. I don't make it. That's a 5. That's a 5.
You can shift your balance.
I think Cuddly Tomo is out of the picture for now. It's back to Hammer Tomo. So I'm going to shift my balance back to Force. Yep. Name your foe. Bunny. They don't engage me. They must mark 2 fatigue. If they do, I am favored for the next exchange.
Nice.
If they do engage you,
If they do.
okay.
Yep.
You might need that. Minfang, you take a second and smooth down your hair, and you just.
Well,
Ugh.
so
I'll tell you what, because this is a big old boss fight. I'll let you roll, and if you roll a 10 plus, then you can do something else. But otherwise, in essence, you're readying yourself to get rid of that stunt.
okay, so like I can either just lose stunned and act next turn, or I can roll and try and do something else as well. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. This is so stupid. Or is it? Or is it? That's a 9.
You need a 10.
I need a 10.
You need a 10 to do anything meaningful, but 9 means that nothing bad happens.
Nothing bad happens. I just clear. So Minh will. I think he sort of runs around and starts to skirt around, sort of separating from Banji so it can't get 2 birds with 1 stone again.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoops, sticking together was bad.
Yeah.
And Minh just starts running around the side.
Hey, can I say? It's an excellent plan. Don't
not staying together.
Don't be standing next to each other. It's its turn. Hey, Tomo, you know how you really wanted it to pay attention to you?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it has a taste for Tomo.
Everybody does.
You see this thing in its giant mouth, and you hold fast because you're Tomo, and you know how to be brave. And its teeth gnash at you, and you see it. As it comes down, just picture you putting your arms up to protect yourself. Which arm would go first? Which one would you like try and...
Probably the left. Yeah.
The left? It bites right through it. And you feel that arm drop. It's still attached to you. But you see it begin to chomp what looks like a bluey, shimmery version of your arm as it goes down.
Uh-oh.
It gains back 2 fatigue.
That's why it was doing so much.
You gain a condition.
We've learned something today.
We're in the information gathering stage.
I get a condition. I have 1 condition left. I am definitely.
And for the foreseeable future, you cannot use that arm for anything you would normally use it for. You are using 1 tonfa should you decide to do that.
Yes.
Yes, it has taken that big chomp out of you. I think everyone sees the spirit arm almost like, you know, when in anime they comically rip a thing up and like gulp it down, like while they're howling at the moon type thing. That everyone sees that. Horrifying.
Yeah, it's dark.
I think the only thing that redeems the situation is that Tomo knows that his tonfa is actually useless anyway. So take that, spirit.
The spirit of the tonfa goes with it.
Oh no.
The tonfa's still there, but you just know the spirit. The tonfa's not as cool as it's slightly lighter. I wanted to make it hurt.
Well, you could take pain then.
Oh. Anyways, we move into our evade and observe. Georgie.
Hello. So I cleared my fatigue.
Excellent.
I'm going to roll.
It's better than it was.
That's a 8,
Okay.
actually.
We appreciate Nate.
Yes. I think I'm going to bolster or hinder. I think I'm going to hinder in this instance. After seeing Minh has recovered a little bit, which is good. Banji's still stunned.
Yeah.
And Tomo's just had a chomp out of him. So I think from the tops of the trees, Nuro is just wanting to maybe just take a little bit more control back of the situation, and they leap from the top of the trees, and as they do, they shoot their arm out in a curved kind of fashion. This massive vine kind of just shoots out of the water nearby, and a whole bunch kind of just like gather and keep going in this direction. Nuro like rides around and starts wrapping around this creature, like it's like legs, or maybe just like a joint around like its like knee or something like that, and just tries to like wrap around a few times, probably like dodging it a little bit, and just wants to kind of yank it off kilter onto its back, essentially. So
I feel that it doesn't feel like it's doing much until, as you put in that last little bit, you realize you just need that touch more, and one of those weird tendril vines come out of you and wraps around, and that is the last thing it needs to sort of be of both worlds.
Yes.
And it does lock it up. It doesn't hit the ground fully,
No.
but it does gain the impaired status.
great. Okay.
It's like a cross between Star Wars and Tarzan. Like locking it up and riding the vines. I love that.
Starzan.
Yeah.
Ted,
Yeah, so I can clear the fatigue still?
no, you're
No?
stunned.
Okay. Can I do anything in my evade and observe?
If you want to aim for this roll,
Yep.
same. I'll give you the same deal I gave
Yep.
to Minh.
If I can get a 10.
If you get a 10, then you get a chance to do something, and you'll get your fatigue.
Yep.
If you fail, a bad thing happens.
I got to risk it for the biscuit, you know.
We'll find out.
That's good. That's a... No, it's not a 10. But nothing bad happens, right? So that's this 8.
Okay. Yes. Nothing bad happens. Good news. Everyone is sort of semi-reset. You're. I think you take this second to be like, right, I'm Banji. I can keep going, and your stunned disappears.
Yeah, nice.
And you don't get your fatigue back.
Yeah, cool. That's fine.
Top of an order.
Evade and observe.
Advance and attack.
Advance and attack.
I'm gonna go defend and maneuver.
Excellent. Because no one else picked defender maneuver this round, so we needed someone to do that. Is everyone feeling nicely threatened yet?
Yes.
Yes.
I have one condition left
And one arm left.
and one arm left.
Apparently.
Can I clarify, like, what are the logistics of using moves during combat again, or like?
You absolutely can use moves during combat.
Okay, and like assess. You can assess kind of during combat.
What you want to roll assess?
Yeah, I think I would like to.
Look good.
Nice. That's a 9 straight off the bat. So I think my main question that I really want to ask is, how can I bring about peace here? Specifically, how can I like get the best result that is returning what is lost to Tomo, not harming this thing in a way that we can't then get Tomo back.
So with an assessed situation, one of the rules of the GM is to always answer honestly, and this part is twofold. One, you can't see a way to reason with this. You can't see a way to control it. You can't see a way to deal with anything like that.
Yes. Yeah.
But the flip side to that I will tell you, no one's tried hurting it yet.
Okay. All right. I'll keep that to myself for now, I think.
Sure. And you get one extra question.
Who or what can I use here to kind of incapacitate this creature long enough to actually do any harm?
If you were to give it a big shock to the system in some way, shape, or form, that might do it. The question is, what would it take for Nuro specifically to give it that shock?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to give you a round to think about it.
Yeah.
And when you do come up with something, it's going to have a +1. But also, there's going to be some associated cost because it would have to be something very big to shock it.
Yeah. No problem at all.
Okay. Tomo, you're in the advance and attack mode.
Yep. Speaking of something very big to shock it, I attempt to use my master technique overpower, which is my boom boom. Tomo sees how this thing attacks. It lashes out and tries to bite. So Tomo is going to step forward and entice it to attack and begin charging up, but he's going to wait for the moment where the mouth and the head is as close to him as possible
Okay.
before unleashing it. Here we go.
Good luck.
Sucking in. Okay, good thing I'm favored because that's a 1 and a 2. But because I'm favored, I could still, buoyed by circumstances, choose an additional basic or master technique in the next exchange, even on a miss.
Nice.
Okay.
Awesome.
Lucky lad.
I mean, I'm a self-guided missile here. Like, I can't miss. I can't miss.
So, tell me about your overpower. What does it look like from a consuming? Because it consumes fatigue, doesn't it?
Yeah, Mark 3 fatigue to inflict a stun on an engaged foe. So that's 3 fatigue. I have 1 left, and it looks like with every step I take, the air just keeps coming in. And as I get close enough, it's inhale, and then as I'm close to it, my mouth opens and I roar. And with that roar, the light comes out from through my throat, and then just
Boom.
boom.
Everyone sees and hears this. And Tomo, you roll through as you pass through this thing again in a way that you did just before. And you see it take this energy that you've had and sort of go and inhale a little bit of it as it does not affect its spirit.
Oh no, we just fed it more.
Banji!
Yes. Let's see if I can do something. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. That is a 10. That's a 10. That's a 10, guys.
It's been so long he doesn't remember how to pronounce it.
Awesome. So I'm actually going to use... I'm going to use strike.
Yes?
And do you want me to do both at once, or do you want me to do...
You do you, boo.
Yeah, cool. I'm going to choose strike and pressure. And what I'm going to do is, as see Tomo running up to its mouth, and I'm going to be like, Tomo, that was incredible. And then I'm going to channel fire through the sword and jam it into where its jaw is and try and cut up its jaw so that it can't close down.
Right.
And I'm going to say that it can't use advance and attack in the next... that's my pressure.
Yep.
And then I'm going to use strike. And yeah, that's kind of both at once. It's sort of like the strike and the pressure.
Hey, man, I'm for it.
Hopefully, I'm channeling fire in through Peacebringer.
You're channeling... Yeah, this
The
is...
dragon's a spirit.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna...
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
You are correct. Are you going to mark fatigue to make it choose what it's doing?
What do we reckon? Should I? I think so. I think because I'm putting all my weight behind this as I'm cutting up through the jaw. And I'm going to say, I'll get it to Mark 2 fatigue.
Yeah.
Okay.
And does it actually impact this thing?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
So specifically, Nuro, you notice this because you were actively observing for it. As you slice through it, you see almost like as the sword passes through, you feel a bit of resistance as the spiritual... It almost gets snagged on the spirit stuff. And as it flicks open, you see some of it go out almost like if you were to see cartoon ghosts fly out of something. Maybe not quite as silly as like Luigi's Mansion style, but it really does feel like spirits go. And as you do, you hear a scream leave. And as it leaves, it lands up in one of the trees. It's the exact scream, Nuro, that you heard. It lands up in one of the trees and a bird appears who makes that exact same scream and flies away. You see another piece of like that little spirit, the second fatigue that flew out, hits one of the leaves that had turned grey, and it immediately starts to get colour back into it.
Awesome.
Moving on from there, it is its turn. And it has decided, Banji, that it does not like you.
That's fair.
Matter of fact, it's probably going to get Tomo still in this wave. Because what it does is it actually plonks itself down on the ground And Minh, you sort of feel this one coming just as an earthy boy.
Seismic sense.
The mechanics are you're far enough away, but as far as the cartoon goes, you leap out of the way, just to make you look a little bit cooler. But the other two, actually, Nuro, you land on the ground as well. Or you're going to get caught in this too. This wave, as it hits the ground, lets out this weird grey matter energy once again. It is basically pure spirit force as it rushes out. You've got a choice. Fling yourself out of the way, Mark II fatigue and become impaired, or you become both stunned and doomed as it just hits you with full force.
Take the first one. Take the first one. It's a trick.
I'm going to take the first option.
Yeah, God.
Yeah. So that was 2 fatigue and
impaired.
impaired. Yeah.
Are they thrown away from this like shockwave?
Technically, yes, because they're flinging themselves out of the way.
yeah.
But
Hang
that's
on,
fine.
but does that flow onto Tomo as well? Or
Oh yeah,
Everyone.
It's area of effect.
I only have 1 fatigue and 1 condition left. So what does that mean? If I take 2 fatigue, that's 1 fatigue filled.
Marks
then-
1 fatigue and 1 condition.
So I have nothing left.
Yeah. So if you
So
take any more,
Then I'm
You're
out.
out.
Okay, but I'm still in.
Georgie, what option are you choosing that option, or are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had 2 fatigue and impaired.
Yep, just checking.
Damn, this thing is nuts.
yeah.
At least we still have all our arms and legs.
Wait a minute.
Too soon, buddy. Too soon.
Oh,
But good news is that that's not the end of the round. Minh Fang.
Yeah. So I did evade and observe, so I'm going to clear a fatigue, and I'm going to roll. Please.
Could be worse. Could be worse.
No, this is great because it's a +2, so that's a 9. So I can do a master or a basic. Seeing everyone get flung away and sees this like ripple, this shockwave come through the swamp and the ground and everything, I think Minh starts to run, and he, with the seismic sense, he knew it was coming. So I think he just does like a quick salt over the top of it. This sort of like woof that goes. And as he sees everyone get thrown away, he now knows it's safe. Heat wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Minh is just going to run in, jump, arms in the air, big hammer fist, and just and sort of manipulate. You can sort of see that wave because Baru told him it was manipulating the energy that was already there, not like putting more into it.
Yep.
That energy wave just comes straight back into the center.
I love that I teach lessons in this, and sometimes they get heard and listened to.
And I think he just smashes straight into this rock, and it's just lava. Just goes everywhere.
Nice.
Yep.
And now he's got this big pool of lava in the center to
What
manipulate.
do I have to mark?
You got to mark 4 fatigue, or they are thrown away, disengaged, and stunned.
I actually don't think that you can throw this thing away, so I think it has to mark 4 fatigue.
Yep,
Hell yeah.
there you go.
Same deal. As this lava hits it, you see it's weird to look at because the rock part that is lava hits and just sort of goes through. But you see as the lava component, that energy component hits, it does in fact dislodge more of these spirit bits. You see another piece go out and one of those weird portals that's in the area closes, and you see another bit, the plant life gets a little bit greener. And you think, maybe, was that a person I just saw fly past the other way? Maybe one of the firebenders is going back to where they came from. Who knows?
Waking up naked.
I wasn't going to say it. You see that you are dislodging things, and it does seem imperceptibly, but it is slightly smaller than it was.
Nice.
Tomo, one last thing to bear in mind as you flung yourself away. You landed dangerously close to one of these portals. And as you look through it, you're pretty certain you see Hoshi.
Okay.
Let's roll into the next one.
Is Hoshi going like thumbs up, like I'm doing well?
Easiest way to think about it. Have you ever stood at a mirror and you think you see someone else? When you look up, you see someone else.
Yes.
It's very much that face. And Hoshi is looking at you. Hey everyone, we're rolling into the next round.
Advance and attack.
Unless you all want to retreat, of course.
No, God no. Evade and observe, please.
Evade and observe.
Evade and observe.
We got our DPS going there now.
It can't advance and attack, so it's going to defend a maneuver. It's going to need some juice. Everyone else has been scattered to the winds except for Minh Fang, which is standing relatively close. And so it reaches down. How are you defending yourself, sir? As its maw comes towards you, ready to jump.
I think he's just going to pull some lava up. Like, I want it to any benefit it's going to gain from chomping me, it's going to lose by also chomping the lava. So I think he sees it coming and he just stamps a foot out and brings a wave up.
I like this visual because it's going to suck for you. Your hands, you feel it chomp through them and they just go completely limp. You still have your arms to move, but your hands currently are not able to activate.
Can't use my rope.
So it's replenishing 2 fatigue. However, you must mark a condition and anything that involves using your fingers.
Insecure. Because now I don't have a safety net of like,
Yeah.
oh, I can always rope my way out of here. Nah.
Which brings us to the advance and attack. Sorry, which is you.
Slap it with your dead hands. Believe in the heart of the dice.
Please, 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 please. Please be good. I don't ask for anything on this show. That's a lie. Oh, no. That's a 6. That is a 6.
You can't even shift your balance, can you?
No, because I'm full heritage. I think that is it for old Minh, everyone. It was nice. I will... Yeah, I'll see you next season, next show.
I think that what happens here is that you go to do something, you go to launch things, and because your hands aren't working, you just haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, the bending is not. The forms, so much of water bending that he learnt from his father, which is the techniques he's kind of having to ad hoc on the fly. It's all hands and wrist.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, no. So I think he goes to like do things but it's just floppy wrist energy.
Again, very, very, very soccer when he's like trying to fight after he's been paralyzed and
Yes.
it's like bleh. What I would like to say is that doesn't mean you can't lava bend. It just means that this time round,
I can't advance it. I've done nothing in my...
yeah, like you Minh now knows he needs to figure out a different way to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
But that is that. We move into the evaders and the observers. Now, I have it in order of Banji.
Great. I'll roll first. Actually, I'll clear my fatigue first, just in case.
Highly recommended.
That's a 6, so I do nothing.
You get a fatigue.
I get a fatigue back.
You can shift your balance.
Actually, yeah, no, I will. I'll shift my balance to action, and I will clear. I'll use bolster or hinder, and I want to clear impaired for myself. So yeah, shifting towards action because it's like, no, I'm not done. And then, yeah, he like just steals himself from whatever getting blasted back by this.
Yep.
And is ready to run back in again and start
I think that's a great way to do it.
killing things.
Tomo, you are somewhat face to face with Hoshi.
I think seeing Hoshi is actually going to knock some sense back into me because I think Tomo's still very stunned from being completely ineffective in this fight. So I think just with like just the quickest of nods, Tomo's just going to acknowledge that he sees Hoshi and then he's going to turn back around and join the fight.
Okay.
I don't know if I read any kind of reaction from Hoshi in any way.
I'll tell you what. Hoshi looks at you, sort of like begin to shake yourself. I was like, "You doing well, big fella?"
Tomo is... No, Hoshi, I don't know how to fight this thing.
Well, I mean, it's spirit wise, and you're not a spirit.
I'm not a spirit. And I think I turn around and look at the others, and everyone's in pretty rough shape. And there are these portals everywhere, aren't they?
You're standing right in front of one.
For now, I think he's just gonna just mull it over a little longer, and I'm just going to shift my balance back towards care because...
Yeah, commit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
For my friends.
Nuro, it is your turn.
Okay.
That face says that you don't want it to be your turn.
No, so I think that I was gonna pull out the Echoes of Legend. To be honest.
Hell yeah, do it.
All right. Okay.
What legend?
Nuro is still stunned. Essentially, they watched Banji take a slash with the dragon sword, saw that actually did something.
Yep.
Saw that like that single tendril vine actually managed to get a grasp. Tomo's power didn't do anything. Minh's lost his hands.
But there's
Might as well
lava
stay
now.
here.
There's a bunch of lava.
There's a
everywhere.
bunch of lava.
everywhere.
I think you'd think Min's doing okay.
Yeah,
possibly.
he's at neutral mode right now.
Yeah, he's
I
sort
lost
of-
some hands. I made some lava. You know.
Yeah, it's sitting in the lava, right? He's just sort of like jumping around and just like.
The only way to describe that was Jesse was trying his best to channel his inner Muppet to do that
he's
dance.
Sort of, dodging around with
Muppet energy.
Nuro has a moment to themselves on the ground there, and they just kind of like slam the ground with their fist, and they're like, it's now or never. It's time to stop hiding. We've got to protect our friends. You've got to come out. You've got to do this. And they are going to call on their otherworldly aspect, their monster, to reveal itself. I rely on my skills and training to mirror an act of legend, myth, or story, and I like to think that this monster is a story in and of itself.
This is a story untold.
Yeah.
I wouldn't normally go with that, but I think that's poetic in this moment. Give me the roll.
Don't need it.
You just said rely on skills and training.
Yeah, and treat it like it's a +10, baby.
Nice.
I retract my statement.
So yeah, Nuro is just like willing this thing to come out. Like, just stop hiding. Like, your home is in danger. Our friends are in danger. And all of a sudden, you just kind of like see this almost like Nuro just kind of like sink an inch into the ground, and you just hear like this crackling noise, and like skin almost starts peeling like bark, and underneath that child face it rips up to reveal 4 glowing eyes. And from that base that Nuro's just like created in the ground, this like just hulking creature, this tree, it is a tree essentially, and it's growing, it's rising, it has all of those waterlogged vines. A mouth starts kind of like splitting through the middle of the trunk, and it's digging deeper, it's connecting with the world around it. You can see the trees and the vines almost start to like groan and like lean towards this thing. I don't know how else to describe this thing, but it's huge.
Well, the good news is that Georgie...
The good news is kaiju fight.
No, the good news is, Georgie, you don't have to make any decisions for the next foreseeable future because Nuro's not here.
Nuro's not here.
And this thing smiles in what may be happiness, or it may be the most threatening thing anyone's ever seen. Nobody knows. It's a very inhuman smile. And it slashes almost like an entire tree has just been uprooted, and it slashes upwards. And you see this thing move. It gets knocked about with this hit. Like, this is the biggest hit that it's taken completely. And you see more of these spirit things just fly out and fly away as it diminishes once again in size. It goes back and it looks furious.
Oh,
I think the thing, it's called the sapling.
oh nice. That's very cool.
Yeah.
It is the top of the order. I am now acting in Nuro's stead.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you just get to sit back now. Have fun.
Advance and attack.
Evade and observe.
Advance and attack.
Banji, advance and attack starts with you.
Yeah, I would like to use the Dragon's Bargain.
Do so.
Um,
Before you roll.
Watch the first
Yeah.
one.
Before you roll, I want to know what you are hoping to achieve.
yeah, so this thing I see Nuro just get ripped apart and turned into this tree. I see Tomo next to this portal. I see Min's like arms, hands.
Lava everywhere.
Yeah, lava everywhere, flinging around uselessly. And Banji's just like, we have to stop this thing. And I want to use Smash, and I want to try and... I get 2 moves. Well, this is the thing. Because it's like I get a 10, is it just something that I want to do? I want to basically like cut this thing's legs off. Like, kind of run through and just like, shing.
You want to cause immense damage?
Yes.
You are rolling with a +1.
Nice. Oh,
Oh, how does he do it?
it's a 10, baby. That's a 10.
You lucky duck.
This dice tower is getting
Yeah.
higher
Yeah.
and higher.
This Jenga is getting dangerous,
So
my friend.
Banji lifts the hilt up to his mouth and he says, it's time to bring peace. And he starts sprinting forward and like jumping in the little like hardened bits of lava that have kind of cooled off a little bit. He's running through, and just where this thing's legs are, he's channeling like a big rainbow blade that sort of almost extends past the kind of regular sword thing and tries to like cut this thing's legs off so that it can't move.
I am marking 4 conditions.
Hell yeah, baby.
Let's bring some peace.
You cut out
Brings a
pieces.
piece by cutting off their legs.
Yeah.
You 100%.
Just Zanzetsu. You summoned Odin and
Big rainbow flame. Looks sick. Looks wicked. You guys are very impressed.
You do a whole lot of damage with this. As you do, you get the sense that took a little bit out of the dragon, just a little bit out of PB.
Yeah.
Not to say that it couldn't do it again, but you're like, maybe it needs to recharge a touch before you do that exact same thing.
Like, I've seen Hikaru do stuff, and it's sort of like, he's still a dragon. Like, PB's still a dragon in the sword. I've seen Hikaru do really cool things and need a rest.
Yep. Same.
Similar.
Same. Yep.
No.
You use your 9th level spell slot. That's that.
Yeah.
But you did good. You roll good, and there are no direct repercussions.
Hell yeah.
For now.
See, it's fine. Sword's fine, guys.
Min.
Okay.
Do it, baby.
3, 6, 9, 10.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to empty my mind and I'm going to ready myself. First of all, will be my first one. So I'm going to mark the fatigue to do this. 1 for empty my mind, 1 for ready. Minh, as he's sort of dodging around this thing, as it's sort of gnashing and swiping at him, as he's landing, he's sort of stamping and like manipulating the rocks with his feet in his rope and wrapping them around his arms, getting momentum and wrapping them around. And then I think he just sort of, as he sort of finally lands and stamps one more time, his bangle is going to mold with, as the knot lands in his hand, it's going to mold with it and sort of like splint his right hand
Nice.
straight. And the other one's going to be in like similarly around, but not as good. And as he does, he's going to lean, he's quickly take a knee and burn the rope in half.
Ooh.
Oh! I am then going to strike. And at Minh's on this sort of little bit of rock, and he's got his arms straight, and he sees everything that's going on, and he's near, like he feels like he's about to fall apart. I've only got 1 condition left, and I'm full of fatigue. And he just breathes out, breathes in again. Ancestors, one and all, lend me fury! And he just starts boof, 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 like with the brick moves that Meng shows taught him. Sort of more flowy now that his wrists are a bit loose, but they're tied up.
Nice.
And he's just throwing lava furiously from this perch. And yeah, I can't choose what they take, but he's just slinging lava.
You've been holding on to that trouble. You cannot let that get covered at all.
Trouble. This is the only thing I got. So
That's it.
As you launch these things at it and you see it losing this spirit form and getting smaller, you see it almost chomp at some of these things as they're trying to get away. And it is absolutely horrified. And you know that it is shifting its balance towards hunger because it's losing things that it had already absorbed. The sapling begins to put its hands, I guess you'd say, into the ground. And you see the world around get greener and brighter. And as it does, plants begin to move up and around. And as they do, they latch on and begin to almost wither and die. And with it, you see that it is doing the opposite. These plants are actively feeding off of the creature and are going back into the sapling. On your stat sheet, Nuro, I would like you, if you have any conditions whatsoever, they're gone.
Thank you. Yum yum.
And that actively did another condition to the another condition and another fatigue to the horror. I'm calling it horror. It is the horror's turn, and it has decided that it is struggling immensely with you lot. It takes another look at what's going on around it, and same as what it did before, it does one of these wild screams, and it seems to have slightly less punch than it did, and that is aimed at the sapling. And so what happens with the sapling is It takes this blast fully in the face. Please mark 2 conditions for the sapling. And it is stunned as it is knocked back. It almost re-roots itself, and you see more nutrients. Everyone that's watching floods back into it. But it's going to take a second for it to get that juice back overall. Then it turns to you, Minh, who's been launching this lava at it. And because its arms are useless, its foot lifts up and you see it coming, and it squashes you with a strike. Mark 2 fatigue.
Cannot do that. Can't mark fatigue, so I mark a condition.
2 conditions.
2 conditions, so I can't do that. So Minh is out of the fight, and he can't really move anymore. He's still conscious, but...
I think it is fair to say that as this foot comes back up, everyone sees Minh Fang is just on the ground. He is...
Minh flattened.
Minh flattened.
flat.
He's not getting up anytime soon. That looked like it hurt in a big way. And yeah, it's up to you if you want to be out or not, but
I think Minh,
you're not present one way or another.
Yeah, he just gets squashed into the rock that he's standing on, and it's it's a rock in a hard place. And he's just is squashed. There's I think several cracks are heard like all over his body, and he's sort of lying there, and blood down his face a little bit, and he's just sort of looking up and dazed, and there's nothing in him. He's just sort of staring at this thing, staring at everything that's happening, barely gripping onto consciousness.
Tomo. Evade and observe.
Clearing fatigue. Tomo is looking up, seeing the changing landscape, and seeing Minh Fang go down, but also seeing the sapling going towards the thing. Tomo is going to pull Suri out and, Suri, do what you can, get Minh Fang up. Slap him awake.
Suri immediately runs off.
And Tomo is going to sprint towards the sapling on his tail, and I will attempt to bolster it.
Yeah, roll for it.
That's great, because that's a fail, because I have no idea, because Tomo has no idea how he's going to bolster this thing anyway.
Do good. Just good.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Make like a tree and leave. No, that doesn't work.
Just spit on it, give it some water.
Yeah. I'm like the enthusiastic chihuahua.
Splashing it with swamp water like it's a bleached whale.
Yeah. But Tomo is going to get in this fight. Tomo's not leaving this fight yet.
No, that's what he... Tomo runs over to I'll go get some swamp water to throw it, and you look down, it's oh, that's Red River, don't touch that. We don't go there. But yes, in terms of bolstering the sapling, Tomo did nothing. Okay. Top of the order. Minh, you have no say.
I am out.
I think Banji sees Minh go down.
High five, Georgie. We're both just sitting and watching. Mate,
Thank God.
entertainer.
To be honest, at this point, I expected there might be more people on the sidelines.
It's because I keep rolling 10s in my sword.
I kind of pictured a little bit like watching Space Jam when all the Looney Tunes are on the bench and Tweety's in an iron lung and everyone's really struggling.
So Banji sees Minh go down and feels like the loss of a brother. He knows that he has to go get him. He can't just leave Minh down like that, especially when there's lava around. There's 2 big monsters stomping around. He sees Tomo go to the sapling. He's like, cool, Tomo's got this. I need to get Minh. So he puts his sword away, and also he knows PB's kind of drained. So he puts his sword away and just sprints over to Minh, grabs him under the arms and drags him away.
Technically, I'm going to count this as a Caesar position because you're trying to get away from something.
Okay.
I'm going to get you to roll for it.
Okay, because I was trying to take myself out of the fight.
No, I know, but you're disengaging, and I feel that this may have a narrative impact.
Yeah, well, and Caesar position says you can try and escape the scene.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Great, so that's defend the maneuver.
Yeah, we're doing it slightly out of order, but I think it's important.
Okay, so then should I wait until everyone else declares?
Nah, do it. We've done it now.
That is another 6. Yeah, that's another... sorry, that's a 10.
Those are 2 different numbers.
Because I was like, yeah, it's a 10. It's another 10.
Yeah, because he was taking off 2 instead of adding on 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's how math generally works. And
I'm just nervous, guys. There's a lot going on. I don't know what's happening.
basically, that is just the run. It is Forrest Gump-esque, one thing on his mind, and he just scoops Minh up and just, it goes slow motion for a second as Min's out of it, and he looks up at Banji's face, looking determinedly forward, like chiseled jaw, furrowed brow, and all you hear is, I can be a hero, baby.
Yeah, Banji looks down at Minh. I've got you, brother.
I can take away your pain.
Picks up Sooty as well.
I think I have a collapsed lung. You just take my breath
Min is
away.
not. Min can't talk. He's just like.
I think when you come up to Minh Fang, you're going to see Suri like trying to administer CPR.
Nice.
Tomo, you're the only one currently that has to choose.
Defend and maneuver.
Okay.
By the way, Ash, feel free to use my Destiny track.
Oh, I'm gonna.
He's going to use everything.
Don't you worry about that.
I've got some good shit.
This is very
some
quickly.
good
Just,
shit.
This is very quickly just like Ash playing a game by himself. We just get to watch.
It always has been. You just idiots have been in the room stopping me. That's all I ever wanted. So you're going to defend and maneuver?
Yes.
All right. The other two kaijus are advancing and attacking. Defend and maneuver, Lucas.
Lure.
Lure.
Okay. Tomo's running up, one arm swinging, and on a 9 on defend and maneuver. Well, sorry, on lure. If he doesn't come for me, he's marking 2 fatigue.
Okay. Good news, he's marking 2 fatigue. Actually, no, technically he's got 2 moves. No, you talked me into it. You might be in trouble here.
He gets favored though, right? You get favored if he goes for you?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually he does. I do.
So
Yeah.
I am Tomo.
Almost errantly, one of the legs picks up and just kicks you back. You go flying and it hurts. Good news, it's not going to mark fatigue for you to choose. This was just a standard strike. So
Okay.
you can shift your balance, mark 2 fatigue, or 1 condition.
I ain't got no condition left. But I do have 2 fatigue to spend, so that's it then. That is all my fatigue spent.
And I think this is almost a comical. You get hit and hit the ground and bounce a couple of times. Like it was with such disregard and such a big impact that.
It is the biggest insult you can inflict an enemy.
Look, you probably hear a crack as you land too. Really, like as your body is now hurting. In the meantime, it continues and it's going to take one of those really big roaring breaths. But the sapling has learned that it can actually not have bad things happen. So it's going to use that. Georgie, how does your not take any damage work?
I have self-sacrificing and I have tremble before me. Is that-
Self-sacrificing in this case.
Okay, so once per scene, mark your destiny track to supernaturally absorb an incoming blow aimed at an ally.
Yeah, I've got this in mind.
It cancels all fatigue conditions or balance shifts that would have been inflicted.
It has turned to see these two that have been pestering it so much begin to move, and it takes this massive breath to do one of these huge screams, which I call boom. And as it goes to do this, the sapling almost grabs it. Like you just see, for anyone watching, this big ant-like arm come across and yank its head so that it aims directly into the air and just scream in a completely useless direction as far as it's concerned. So it has to mark fatigue for having done this scream, but the two of you who are running away are nice and safe. But that's a destiny track, right?
Yes, so I'm marking my destiny track. I have one more.
It really sucks to be out of control of your own body right now.
I knew it was. I had a feeling it was going to happen.
It's fine because it slogs this thing back, and as it does, you almost see it just like rake its, spirit viney hands down and give it almost a gut punch and run through. So it is. Giving it that strike is also disrupting the ground. So all that lava that was floating about before, I think just completely tumbles and rumbles. Tomo, you look and you know that unless you are, 20 feet high or however big these things are, I don't know what feet are, unless you are massive, you cannot pass that terrain. It is now the top of the order. Tomo, you are the only one that can choose something. Just so everyone at home knows, Minh, Fang, and Banji are a safe distance away.
Yeah, Bunji's like going back to the tree line out of the grey just to get Minh safe.
Yeah.
Tomo. So what can Tomo see now? Is it can he see anything right now?
What are you hoping to see?
Well,
It's a very open question.
I guess I'm hoping to see if the saplings is in trouble or not. Like do they look like?
I think that there's no earthly way to know. Like these are two very spiritual creatures fighting each other, and they seem to appear to be taking, in some cases, literal chunks off each other. So
I can see the fight.
You can see the fight, and currently I would say it's relatively even.
I've got to move. I know it's not combat, but it's punch where it matters. When I assess the situation, I can ask who or what is in the most vulnerable to me, even on a miss.
Yeah, I mean,
I got to try to figure out where.
To be fair, surprised you haven't asked yet.
Oh, saucy minx. Okay, let's go. Assess this creativity. Okay, that's a 9.
On a 9? All right.
On a 9.
You get to ask one question plus another one with your punch where it matters?
Yes. So how does Tomo do anything here, or does Tomo need to do anything at all? Like how are the kaijus looking?
So the short answer is they're both taking hits. When we look at it, I would say that from a mechanical standpoint, I'm using legendary stats. So I feel that this is the right time to use this. With legendary, they have 4 before they're off balance. It's at 1. They have 8 conditions. It has 5 marked. It has 15 fatigue. It has 10 marked. Functionally, it is not too far away from one of your stat blocks right now. Even after all you've done to it, it's coming in relatively fresh. I don't know that the sapling's at that exact rate. It's taken some hits. Nuro had already taken a few beforehand, and so it's sitting in a less good bracket. It's got a little bit of an extra boost, but I would say on sheer numbers, like sheer mechanical numbers, the horror is winning. Or more specifically, the horror will likely outlast the sapling.
War of attrition.
Specifically, because now the other 2 people that could affect it are not there.
My other question is, where is the nearest portal?
I would say that there is one 5 meters, almost directly in front of you.
I think Tomo is going to reach into his pocket and take out a bit of parchment and a little bit of charcoal and probably start writing something. And he is going to use whatever's left of his strength to start crawling for that portal. And, take one last breath before stepping through.
As you get closer, I think seeing Hoshi, and Hoshi, it almost feels like he's holding out his hand to you. You feel like you're ready to take it, and you stand and step through. You feel a weightlessness in your entire being. Any pain you were holding is just gone. Any tension, any stress that was there fades away immediately. Clear all conditions. Clear all fatigue. Mark yourself a balance. For anyone looking, from Tomo's perspective, he stood up, he stepped through, and he is feeling great. For anybody watching, which is no one, you see Tomo's body hit the ground on the other side of the portal. You know without a shadow of a doubt, you can hurt this thing now.
Is Hoshi still with me?
Hoshi is looking at you, saying,
I hope you made the right choice, but I'm pretty certain it was what you were gonna do anyway.
I only wish I could have done this for you. And Tomo turns away and faces towards the horror. Yeah, I charge. So, moment of balance. Should I read it out?
please.
You can knock down every wall in the world, but balance isn't found in conquest and destruction. You know some walls need to stand to keep people safe. Tell the GM how you put yourself directly in the path of an inescapable threat to completely protect someone or something from harm. There are 2 monsters, but in one side, one of those monsters is a child that Tomo has grown to love dearly. And even though Tomo's not entirely sure if that child's still in there, even if there's the slightest chance. So Tomo is going to do everything he can to make sure that child walks out of this and get their home back. Tomo starts running, and every step he takes, there are flashes in his mind. It's memories of him, Banji, stacking cups with Banji on Natsuo Island. It's throwing a bow into Minfang's mouth. It's going down the water slide with Nuro, and every step he takes, it goes faster, and hot tears are welling up in his eyes. These are faces of people he loved, faces of people who he's going to leave. Tomo has to leave now, and he has to leave because of this thing in front of him, this horror. So he smashes into it with every intent to obliterate. He hurls himself. There are now 3 monsters in this fight. He is wailing, he is thrashing, he is fueled by rage. And I think there is, again, this sort of a hurricane of emotion. There's loss, regret, rage, frustration. It's ugly. He's ugly. This is his dark side. This is dark side with nothing holding him back. I think it's overpowering. I think it's overpowering the monster. But I think in these memories that he's coming, there is one. It's Nuro looking at him after they went into his mind. They saw all the horrible thing that he did, and they still accepted him. I think that moment makes Tomo just catch himself, and suddenly he's looking at the horror, and he sees himself, and he realizes that this horror is where this path is going to lead him. So he can't stop fighting. This thing is beyond reason. He can't stop fighting, but that ferocity is replaced with poise and control and grace. He's picking his moment. He's waiting, and when he sees it, he goes in. He goes in for a hug. He holds it. He holds it. It's probably still trashing back at him, but he holds it, and he closes his eyes, and he whispers, "It's time for us to go." And he inhales.
There are only 3 people that can see this. 1 is Arturo. 2 is this leafy spirit. And 3 is the sapling. Maybe Nuro somewhere in there. It's so interesting that you say you hold it, because this thing was so much bigger than you. But because of the nature of the spirit realm, because of the nature of this emotion you're conveying, you are the same size as it, Tomo. The measure of a man here is the size that he portrays himself as, and you are on equal footing. Everyone on the outside, almost like watching time go backwards. All of these things you can't even see properly hit the leaves, the ground, the people, the animals, the other spirits. Everything that it consumed gets released back into the world. Nuro, deep down, you know the swamp has just healed itself almost instantly. And with that, the sapling collapses to the ground and just stops and stays. Tomo, when your eyes open, you're in an entirely new space. You don't recognize it. It's kind of similar to where you've been before while in the spirit realm, but not the same. And the very first thing you see as you look around is a small white rabbit spirit who opens its eyes, looks very confused for a second at you, like it's just woken up from a drunken stupor. And its eyes go wide, and it bounds away. The other thing you see is a woman, younger, dressed in Earth Nation finery. She smiles and she says, Hirota, it's so good to see you again. And you recognize where you know this woman from. We flash back to a couple of months ago. Everyone has gone to sleep. Everyone is feeling the stress of the missions they've got ahead of them. And as silent as a ninja, through the window goes Tomo. into the bedroom of the Earth Queen of Amashu. She sits up and says,
Bumi, is that you?
Your Majesty, I am Dr. Jakal. Bumi sent me to treat you.
Oh, Bumi sent you.
Yes, I am a specialist in rare herbs and exotic spices. May I brew you a cup and we will partake together?
If Bumi says it's a good idea.
Yes. Yes.
you prepare your pot of tea and you add some of the spirit water that no one knew about. And you pour 2 cups.
Have a sip, and with every sip that you take, it will be feel like as if a decade has been returned to you.
Within a few minutes, both of you have been sipping away. And in the way that we've seen happen before, you both begin to nod off from this tea, from this silence and this motion, and you open your eyes and you are in a similar white space. A little bit different. This one's a little bit more open. But you're both there and you see the Earth Queen doesn't look the same as she did in the bed. She looks like a much younger woman. And she says, What is this?
A second chance, Your Majesty.
A second chance? What do you... Why do I feel so light and so...
What do you desire most right now?
I would like to see my family. I would like to explore. I feel I do nothing anymore.
Hold those desires in your mind and close your eyes and focus on it.
And you see her close her eyes, and around you springs up a world, a vibrant world. There are people dancing, there are people laughing. It's very clearly Earth Kingdom. The music's a little bit older from what you're used to listening to, and maybe the star's a little bit older, but she looks and she smiles and she says, I can have this again?
Yes. And have it for all time.
I think that feels right. I mean, I know now your name's not really Jakal. What is your name?
And, Tomo feels like the least he can do is tell her the truth. So, Hiroto, Your Majesty.
We flash back to now, and she is holding out her hand, and she says, You gave me so much more than you realized, and I want to give that back to you. Take my hand, go to the places and see the people that you want to see the most.
Even though it's pointless, for a moment, Tomo does turn around and look behind him as if hoping there was a portal that would take him back. But even before he turns, he knows there's nothing there. So he brings his gaze back towards the queen and smiles and takes her hand, steps forward.
And you begin to walk off into the white light. Back in the regular world, Fu comes along to see Minh struggling, Banji tending to him, and Nuro beginning to break their way out of what this shell of the sapling has become. And to be fair, anyone looking sees that Nuro doesn't quite look as much like Nuro as they did not that long ago. Fu approaches and sees this scene, this chaos area that's been churned up and fought and lava and everything. And as they arrive, seeing both Minh struggling and Banji trying his best to care for him right now, she sees Nuro scrabble out of this stump, this tree, this whatever it might be, and run over to where Tomo is lying face down.
Please, Tomo. Please. You can't do this. I love you, Tomo. Please. Please.
And Fu rushes over to Nuro and says, "It's okay, Muffin, it's okay. You know that
Mama.
the swamp can be a harsh place. Let's get you some rest." Seated behind an opulent mahogany desk in a lavish office, we see Lady Dow reading the day's correspondence. The other occupant of the room notes it's about the 5th time Lady Dow has gone to this exact letter, and on sneaking a glance at the stamp on the back, wonders who Meng Shou might be. Lady Dow, normally so poised with her emotions, has a tempest brewing in her mind, and it's clearly reflected in her face when she finally opens her mouth to speak. "It would seem that young Tomo has deceived me, a feat I did not believe possible. The boy truly has become a man, and thus cannot be trusted. Unlike you, my sweet pet." She waves the letter in a general direction and says, "The Runaways are headed to Natsuo Island before moving to the Foggy Swamp for some reason. It seems they're gathering books of immense power." She absent-mindedly looks at her own bookshelf and smiles. "Fetch them for me, however you like. I didn't realize there was more than one. And you know I love to expand my collections."
As you wish. Don't worry. I won't let you down.
The Book of War is Lucas Lee as Tomo, Georgie Hazel as Nuro, Ted Darling as Banji, myself Jesse Thomas as Fang, and Ash Cooper as our Game Master. The Book of War remains, as well as Spirits, Tomo's remix, Fang's theme, Banji and the Dragon, and Nuro and the Swamp, are all by our wonderful music producer Matt Harrison. Thank you everyone for such a wonderful 2024. We are so excited to get into the new year with everything we have prepared and ready for you. Next week we will have a 2024 wrap-up episode for you, which we just will talk about the year and, talk about the show and stuff, as well as some Christmas goodies for Patreons and regular listeners of the show, so stay tuned. As I've said previously, we will be taking January as our break this year, not December. So we will have the next episode up for you likely in the last week of January or the first week of February. So we'll see you then.
Has everyone seen the meme from Cloud of the Chance of Meatballs where the officer's just running? Fit backward! You in trouble! And it's just basically that is just the run. It is Forrest Gump-esque, one thing on his mind, and he just scoops Minh up and just